what I don't need to hear. I don't need to hear about bipartisan cooperation with dictators. I don't need to hear about decorum, and I definitely don't want to hear about fundraising right now. I am not in that mood, okay? What I want is for you and my fellow elected officials to throw sand in the gears of government that is disappearing innocent people off the streets, that wants to denaturalize veterans like me, that is defying court orders and punching folks behind the street. You can't wait until the hit road. You need to hold this facility of coordinated resistance against this regime right now. This regime policy is like a rising tide. The dead is driving out green card holders and the water levels of need. It's coming to the home bill. So what is your question? What are you going to do to help us?
Down with the Gestapo.
I would never diminish your anxiety or risk, and thank you for your service. And I will do everything possible.
What does that mean? What does it mean?
Well, we are out. Take a deep breath. We're out there trying to. I mean, what you can march, you can organize, you can and create rallies. Those are all happening. You can.
We can vote you out of office.
What are you going to do?
I am organizing as best I can. I am going to rallies. I am trying to protest. Some people have different uses in different times in different ways, and I'm happy. I'm more than happy to go down. I was at the state capitol a couple weeks ago. The reality is we have to find some way to bring enough pressure on ICE, and if that's rallies and protests, again, I go up to the 60s, right? I marched on Washington for civil rights. I went to the First Earth Day. I did all that stuff, and none of it worked, right? 1968, we closed down universities all over the country. We had an incredible uprising. We lost that election in 1968 by one of the worst disastrous failures of our Democratic Party in history. So, not that we shouldn't do that. We have to make people feel like they're heard and that elected officials care. We got to be doing other things at the same time. And I think part of that's litigating in the courts. Part of that is going to the media and the entertainment business. If you think about what Donald Trump is doing, he has turned politics into entertainment. Every single one of these malevolent people that he's appointed into his cabinet are all experts, and they're telegenic, and they either have their own TV shows or they're huge, millions and millions of followers. They're social influencers. We've got to be able to push back more and turn that tide against them. If you've got, I will stick around. If you've got opportunities or things where you need me and I can add value, I'm happy to do it. I'm spending as close as I can get, 14 hours, 12 to 14 hours a day, working on this, trying to sort through it. And
what exactly?
Again, I don't have the great answer to you because I never believed. I think a lot of people. I mean, I read Project 2025, and it's pretty clear what is intended there. When I read that, I couldn't believe that would ever happen in our country. No. Right? I watch what I'm seeing now on TV. I can't believe what's happening in our country. And I'm not going to give into it, but I think we've got to be very strategic about how we're going to be able to win.
Great. Thank you, Senator. Back here, the woman with the green shirt and the sunglasses on your head. Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Given the gravity of the topics today, my ask feels a little menial, yet still really important. I want to talk about kids with cancer. I'm Julie, a mom, childhood cancer survivor. Since my son was diagnosed with leukemia at age 6 in 2016, I've worked with many organizations across the state, one of which being the Morgan Adams Foundation, to advance childhood cancer research. My ask for you today is for your continued support, and specifically on Senator Bennett's Give Kids a Chance Act that will be before your committee real soon.
No. How is your child now?
Thank you. He's good. He's now 15, about to be 16, and all clear. Thank you.
I think I'm already on that bill. bill. I have to go check, but I know that Michael talked to me about it, and it's one of a number of bills. It does highlight the fact that in retribution for the social wars, this White House is trying to cut science research at a level that we've never seen before, and not just for, a lot of it is for cancer. I mean, a huge amount of it's for cancer, but it's for everything you can imagine. It's for things we're going to need for our strategic defense. You know, the quantum computing, things like that. And all that research, when you cut it down and stop, especially medical research, because you have laboratories that are difficult to put together, when they are told that their grant is going to be disallowed this year, it all falls apart. The postdoc goes to another school, does a different project, they can't piece the lab together. It gets, the discontinuity basically causes real loss, much greater expense. I was gratified to see Harvard is not going to buckle. It's funny, I went, 2 Sundays ago, I went for a long walk with a friend who's very active and very involved and very successful, and he's on one of the boards at Harvard. I think he's on the board of advisors for the business school or something. And he was furious because they did buckle up till then, and he said, what's the point of having a $50 billion endowment if you're going to roll over for the first time a tyrant, you know, throws their weight at you? And luckily they heard him. Anyway, I'm on it. I support Michael's bill, and we will do everything we can to raise the ante on research.
Yes, okay. So the guests are here right in the front row. Veteran. And I know we've got, there's so many hands, I'm sure we're not going to get to everybody all, but thank you for your patience.
Good evening, Senator. I'm Steve from the Veterans of Foreign Wars. I'm the legislative director for Colorado. Welcome, thank you for coming to Colorado Springs and El Paso County. Luckily, El Paso County happens to be the 3rd largest veteran-populated congressional district in Colorado. And so many people in this room are veterans already. I mean, if you ask for a show of hands, pretty sure.
Veterans?
Let's see your hands.
Raise your hands. It's a lot.
A gentleman over there is a hard act to follow, I gotta say. But one of the things I wanted to talk with you about, and we talked about before, was the Veterans Affairs and the hiring and firings and everything from there. Last time we talked about, to refresh your memory, we talked about the 40 senators that you work with and everything like that. So, so today we're just working on, the people who accidentally got rehired now. I mean, people were fired, people in the background, people who do things for, administrative and everything like that. There have been providers who were fired, and I haven't found out those that have been rehired yet. So, one of the things that Secretary Collins was talking about, and this is just the crux of the question, I promise to get there. Secretary Collins said that, oh yeah, I'm gonna put a pause on the firings for probably about 3 months, and look at everything now. The things that we've been asking for forever, or it feels like forever. Let's see where we're at. But do we believe them? Do we not? Kind of deal. So, can we verify through your office? Can we verify? Through. I'm going to ask this of many people too. Can we make sure that we are going to pause the firings? Because veterans out there are suffering. Veterans who I know in mental health care are suffering. That's the worst part of it. Veterans who are looking for community care are suffering. There's all kinds of veterans who are suffering out there right now due to the VA, and we need to make sure that we have an answer.
A lot of the legal successes have been finding places where people were fired against the law, and a lot of those people were veterans. As you know, President Biden put a priority on hiring veterans, and so if you're going to go by the rule, the last person hired is the first person fired. you're going to disproportionately lay off more veterans. And again, I don't think that's why, not just the veterans are going to be unhappy, Americans are going to be happy. That's not why so many people voted for President Trump, was so that he could lay off veterans. Do we have a guarantee for the 3 months? No. And do I trust that they'll do that? No. One argument that I've heard from a psychologist, pretty smart person, was that Trump really just cares about power and cares about leverage. So he attacks the lawyers, and intimidates the lawyers so he can get them to work for him, which gives him leverage. Because then he can attack the universities and try to break them apart and take down their research if they don't give in to him. So he has power over them, and then that gives him more leverage over families. He's looking at this is the argument, and it seems to fill in a lot of the spaces, that he's looking for leverage and really trying to attack the institutions of America. So first, he attacks his enemies and rubs them out, gets them off the political landscape completely. Then he looks at all the institutions, so universities, veterans. The veterans are an institution. When we did the PACT Act, we passed the PACT Act in this last Congress, which is the largest increase in veteran benefits in the history of America, right? I mean, without question, people that have been sitting around those burn pits for year after year after year and had exactly the predicted sicknesses, we're having to go out and prove that there was direct correlation, and we fixed that. That doesn't mean that President Trump doesn't feel some benefit from taking them down. So we'll see. In 3 months, we'll find out. But we're not going to wait. We're going to continue. And I appreciate, as you described, I can't remember the soldier's name, who had 2 children. He came out, moved out here with his wife, and had a job, and then he got laid off. And after 2.5 weeks, he got hired back. And he was still furious. He said, "Do they think I'm going to be happy just because they hired me back? My God, we went through 2 weeks of hell. We've got a little teeny child. We've got 2 kids, and my wife was trying to figure out could she go back to work? Could I find a job? We had to make rent. We'd spent our savings to move out to Colorado, and now we're going to be out on the street." That is cruel to put through so many people. You're seeing this, again, roughly 25,000 people have been laid off. Again, the total workforce is a small percentage, but those are real lives. And in many cases, they've done nothing wrong. They're just doing their job. For many of you don't remember, but I never was involved in politics. I had owned a bunch of restaurants. I ran for mayor of Denver in 2003, first political thing I ever did, because I was so pissed off that the mayor and city council seemed to be making decisions for their own reelection. And I was a small business guy and had business downtown. And so a whole bunch of us kind of got together. And it was kind of a joke. No one ever thought that I could ever be a politician, let alone win an election. But we won. We got 2/3 of the vote. And the whole thing we ran on was government should be smaller. Everyone thinks government should be smaller. It does. It grows too big. So we ran, but we didn't go and lay everyone off. We did a hiring freeze for 2.5 years. And as people, baby boomers retired, people went to another job somewhere else, we didn't replace them. And we spent a lot of time working with the workforce to tell them how valuable they were, how great they were, and they had to do a little more, that we could do more with less. And they rose to the occasion. We were the first city to do all kinds of stuff. First, high-quality early childhood education for every 4-year-old. We had a civilian oversight commission to investigate any allegations of misconduct from the police. All these things we did with less people. And that's what should be happening in our federal government. It's the opposite. We're taking veterans and pushing them in the ditch.
Thank you, Senator. So I see a couple of young people that I want to call on next, and there's a young gentleman right here with curly hair. Yeah, would you stand up? And then we'll go to you next with the headphones on, the young woman over here with your hand up.
Hello, Mr. Senator Hickenlooper. It's an honor to be here. My name is Aaron Nogales. I'm a high school student at Stemscore Highlands Ranch. So my question for you here today is, obviously you have a lot of criticisms of the Trump administration. Isn't it best to prioritize those ways? So number one, the public understands what your party's priorities are, and number two, you can send a more strong and unified message out. And if that's the case, that prioritization is key. What are you going to be prioritizing? Thank you.
That, my friends, is a good question.
So, just before you hold me too much and disrespect you too much, I'm answering questions. So you haven't heard if I was going to make priorities, I want to I want to have a two-party system in this country that works. And I want a Democratic Party that's going to be able to compete. And I want to be able to have a Democratic Senate. I want to be in the game, in the race, in Indiana, in Missouri, in Kansas, in Nebraska, in Montana. All these are places where we had Democratic senators 12 or 14 years ago. And now we don't even compete. So you asked me what my priority is. I think we got to respect civil rights. It's always going to be the backbone of the Democratic Party. We've got to always recognize that we're going to try and do everything we can from the last to the least, and create, as much as we can, more opportunity for everyone. But we got to have a strong economy. And I've been saying this since I ran for mayor. When I ran for governor, we had an economic development plan for the state. My last 3 years as governor, we were, according to the U.S. News and World Report, we were the #1 state economy in America 3 years in a row. One time that's ever happened. But it was because everyone worked together, right? It wasn't, we had no edict. We weren't tyrannical, but it had everybody on the same page. Colorado Springs was a big part of that effort. And I put that as at the highest priority. And you can break that down into what are the things you need to build a strong economy. And we did a state business plan. We got every county did a business plan. El Paso County did a business plan. But the first thing in almost every county was get rid of bureaucracy and red tape, right? Then get better access to capital. Make sure you have the workforce trained.
On the aisle here with I don't know if it's headphones on and your hand pink sweater. And did I hear say go to the back? Are you talking about the way back in the bleachers? Okay, we'll move back there. We have, I think, just 10 more minutes, so we're not going to get to everybody.
I'll be more concise, I promise.
My name is Daniela, and I'm a former college student at Pikes Peak Community College. And I suffer from a TBI injury that was caused from a medical student over in Europe. And they gave me a TBI by putting tourniquet over my head. My question is, are you going to provide something for people like me that have TBIs and others with disabilities to promote more programs and to be able to go back to school?
Another easy question. Yes, absolutely. And we've worked on that while I was governor. The next step from that is obviously make sure that you have the support necessary to go back to college. But the next step beyond that is how do we, again, as our unemployment is less than 4%, how do we make sure that businesses, we give them the support to hire people that are coming out with a college degree or even with just a certificate that have had something like TBI or some other disability, allow them an opportunity to have a real life or earn a living.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go to those in the bleachers. There's a gentleman with kind of a red t-shirt on in the front bleachers. Go ahead. The red t-shirt guy, so I called on. You're giving it to the guy with the hat. All right, go ahead. Let's go. Let's keep moving.
My name is Tim Weber, and I'm with Teamsters Local 455, and I was wondering where you stand on the Faster Labor Contract Act and also the Package Prodigy Act.
What was the second one?
Package Prodigy.
It's the Package Prodigy Act. It hasn't been introduced yet, but it will correctly classify FedEx Express and freight under the NRLA instead of the RLA.
Okay, I think I know that one. I think I support that, but I'd have to see it. But I'm pretty sure I know exactly what that is. It's from the exactly what that is. It's from the talking to the head of the AFL-CIO yesterday, I guess, on the PRO Act. Again, as a federal official, I don't wade into the state issues. When I was governor, I made Bill Ritter and Bill Owens both made commitments that they would not come and upstage me. But while I was mayor, while I was governor, I think we did as much as anybody has to help improve labor, make sure people aren't getting paid under the table. That we get everybody. I mean, the goal. If you look at the history of the middle class, if you care about the middle class, you go back to 1960, and the middle class has steadily declined almost exactly with the decline in labor. In other words, less union jobs, a smaller middle class. So we've tried and continue to try to do everything we can in the Congress, and I'm supporting the PRO Act loudly, and just for the record, the PRO Act goes beyond. I'm just saying.
All right.
I'm not controlling him. I am saying that. Well, I'll say that. Governor Polis and I have had discussions.
So we've had a good 30 hands up every time. We have 5 minutes left. I know I'm not going to get to everybody. I'm going to go over here to the woman in the blue t-shirt. We need a mic up here.
Good evening, Senator Hickenlooper. My name is Polly Doring, and I am a licensed early childhood educator here in El Paso County. I am here today to make a statement on the lack of affordable child.
A question would be great. Can you do it in a question?
I am getting there. Thank you so much.
Okay, Senator says go ahead.
For your patience. While I am here today speaking as an educator, I want to emphasize that my passion program, I obtained my child care license and opened my own program, Polly's Preschool, in our house as a way to stay home with our son, financially contribute to my family, and help my community with a very real crisis. The lack of affordability for quality child care in our country is affecting every family, whether they have children or not. It affects every industry. Every person that leaves the workforce due to a lack of affordable child care is a loss in net productivity for that employer and a time and training invested in that valued employee. Affordable child care is a bipartisan issue. And the ones being negatively affected by this issue are the most are children of lower and middle income families. This is not okay. Real children all over our country are being denied opportunities for learning simply because their parents cannot afford to pay for it. Not okay. In a time of great division in our country, I ask that we shift our focus and our priorities to the ones who are looking at us the most for a hopeful future, and that is our children. Senator Hickenlooper, as we work to find solutions for families like mine and children like Jax and Ella, how do you see your role in advancing access to affordable, high-quality child care? And what steps are you most committed to taking to make that a reality in Colorado? Thank you.
Thank you for the question, and well stated. And I couldn't agree more. And since I first ran, got elected, got in the finals, and got elected mayor of Denver, there was a guy who was everyone thought he would win, named Ari Samaras. And his biggest issue was early childhood education. So he came to me, and usually when somebody drops out, they want you to pay off their debt or whatever. He said, I want you to take a moment and study early childhood education for the next 2 days, and then I want you to support it, which I did. And so we started 3 different commissions. Over the course of 18 months, we studied it to death. But you're right, it pays for itself many times over. You just have to lay it out for people in black and white. We went with a ballot initiative for the sales tax. We made Denver the first city in America to pass high-quality early childhood education for every 4-year-old. Now we're down to 3-year-olds. the trick for me is to have that process of where you get civic leaders from all over the community look at it and travel to other cities and see how it works and see the economic benefits and let the business leaders see that this is really a business initiative. I'm not diminishing this. Crucially important for a family. I've got, some of you don't know this, I have a wife that's 20 years younger and decided that she changed her mind when she got closer to 50. And I have a 2-year-old son at home. Right? I'm living proof that there's one miracle left in each of us. But every morning he comes in and we spend the first hour in bed together, and I get it. I mean, watch how fast he's learning and how important every interaction is in his development is crystal clear. So ultimately, this should be something like a federal mandate, except we can't get the federal government to give any money to our schools. I mean, basically dropping the budget. I think every time we've done any bill around more funding for education, we make sure we include early childhood education. So anyway, keep at it. And I know Governor Polis feels the same way about this. He really is passionate about trying to find more money for it.
So, Senator, with that, it is 7 o'clock. And, okay, he said he's willing to take one more. Thanks for the pressure. I get to pick one out of the 50 hands that are up right now. And some of you have had your hand up the whole time. So, I don't know. I'm going to just go. There's, right back here, you've got the sweater. Yeah, you're pointing to yourself. Yes, you. Go ahead. Yes, you do need a microphone. It's coming.
Okay. So, I'm back to Governor, but Senator Hickenlooper, my name is Devin Phelan. I'm a resident of Colorado Springs. There's a very important issue I want to talk about for our family, and then I have a very general issue. So, the current superintendent of the Air Force Academy is trying to remove civilian faculty and personnel. Yes, I know that face. Thinking that basically captains that come back to the Air Force Academy would be teaching at the same level as professional educators. So my first thing is to bring attention to that, because I don't think that's something that a lot of people understand or know right now, and it could be a service academy-wide issue. The second thing is, has the Democratic Party realized times have changed? Yeah. Yes. The administration that we currently have is literally a fascist regime. Yep. We're on track to not have Congress. That's right. Your opinion is about not to matter. Yep. The Democrats have to change how they're doing this. Yes. Wait. This is the question.
Well, I want to hear your suggestion first.
I would love to. So the social media thing that you're being coached right now, oh my God, get on it. Make
it's right here. It's right here, buddy.
Wear fake tans. Put on eyeliner. Obviously it's working. These are things where we have to be more of a party that is fun to look at. Say outrageous things. Make weird posts. I mean,
stop supporting Israel!
I already said this. We've got to be the entertainment business. I get it.
You have to stop taking the high road. This is not the time.
Got your chance right here.
So you want me to do attack ads.
Don't come to
I hear what you said. I heard very clearly, and I agree. What we've done before is inadequate. I think, there's no question that the system is corrupt. Right? The system is, there's a reason why no one can afford a house at the same time. These private equity companies are buying up block after block after block of houses that therefore nobody else can afford. There's a reason why nobody can afford their health care, right? The system is rigged.
What are you going to do?
Donald Trump promised to de-rig it. He's not de-rigging it.
He's a liar.
He is re-rigging it for his own benefit.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to do everything I can.
How's that working?
sit in the crowd and say, you do this, you do that. Well, get up here and run for office. See how much you like it.
Maybe you should.
Listen, Colorado is a free and independent state, right? We will never kneel to our king. We will always push back and fight for everything we got. We'll never bow down to a king, and I think that's part of all of us. One thing that wouldn't hurt Democrats to learn is we don't succeed too well when we have circular firing squads, right? And to go after, when Chuck Schumer disappoints people, and trust me, he disappoints me from time to time, more, in stories you can't imagine. We need unity more than anything else. If we're going to win in Indiana, purpose and willingness to accept people they're not exactly believing exactly what we believe.
Schumer is weak.
Thank you, everybody. Clearly, we all are suffering from the chaos and from the disruption, and we are very angry, and we have a fabulous senator who's here, who's taken our questions, and let's give him one more round of applause. Thank you, yes, this is tough times. This is very, very tough times for our whole country, regardless of our party. Is there anything final that you would like to say to the crowd?
Just to thank you. Thank you all again for taking time out of your day, for listening, for not just for being here, but engaging yourself. And I really do believe that we can organize in ways that we don't even know yet. And that we can march and protest and find ways to bring that pressure on our elected officials so that they can't not make the changes that I think pretty much all of us agree we need change. So we are, well, you don't have to worry about me making the right. I think I'm voting the way you want me to vote. I think what you're worried about, I think you're worried about what people are worried about, because most people are worried about, maybe not the people in this room, most people are worried about their kids and making their rent and how they can live a life where their family can grow with a sense of security. I realize that's a broad statement. That is what I think we need to look at day in, day out, is to figure out how do we get to that unity, how do we build back to that life, and then do it.
How come when they're the minority, they can stop it?
Yeah. Appreciate you coming tonight. Thank you for the university. Have a good evening. Good fight and a good fight.
What'd you guys think of that crap?
Sorry.
Yep, gaslighting for sure. Very weak. Absolutely.
My question was, why didn't they see this coming?
Yep, more gaslighting for sure. He didn't promise jack shit.
We didn't see this coming.
Very weak.
My question is, why
Very disappointing.
they had 2025?
Yep. It was a waste of time. He didn't say anything. Didn't promise anything. Had no plan. Nothing.
They should have.
Yep. Sounded from source too. No problem. He is a wimp. Very wimpy. Look at all these disappointed people. Trying to talk to him. All right, guys. Let me see if I can get a word in with him. Check you later. Thank you guys all for